Hi everyone. Welcome to the web development course. This one is the second video of HTML. Hope you are doing well. And so in the previous video, we already have discussed about how HTML, what is HTML, and how to create a simple website using HTML tags. And we already discussed about tags like HTML tag, head tag, body tag, h1 tag, and p tag. So in this video, we will be discussing uh, one tag like form tag. So how the form is working, and there are some attributes regarding that form. So let's start about that form. Okay, so basically the thing is like first we need to know why form exists. Okay, so the form exists basically, so it collect the website data. Okay, so for imagine you have visited an online shopping website. Okay, so in that website you are searching for a product, and after selecting a product you click on the login button. And if you are not logged in, if you are first visitor on the website, first you have to create a register, you have to create an account. Okay, by creating a sign in or registration button. Okay, now once you have selected, you proceed with by adding a shipping address, then make payment, then leave a reply about that product. So now the question is, how does the website know what you type? Okay, so basically here the HTML form comes. So a form is a simple way for a website to collect information from the user. Without form, a website can only display information. It cannot receive information from visitor. So think of HTML before form. So in the previous video, we have already like HTML index.html page. So here it is, we did not have worked on the form. We only have the h1 tag and p tag under the body. So at that time, that HTML page is in on read-only mode. So if we mention form, so that time it that whatever the form, whatever that attribute or whatever the information it is there under the form, so that time the it will be like editable. Okay, so suppose we already have a HTML. Here you can see like HTML page. We already have a head tag. We already have a body tag. We already have a like paragraph. We already have mentioned like heading. Okay, probably there should be some table tag. Table tag is there. Okay, and some link will be there. For link, we can href. Okay, the link tag. This one is for link tag because href, when a tag is defined, like a tag is for mention for link tag, and table tag is mentioned for table tag. Okay, the now how it will look like. So suppose we have a h1, like we already have a table, uh, like table. Under the table we have a t head, sorry, t head. Okay, so under the t head we have a t t age. Okay, there can be multiple th. So under this could be table, sorry, t body. Okay, this is how the table tag we mentioned the table. Okay, so suppose this we have h1 tag, p tag, table tag, and link tag. Okay, so now we don't have any form, like we don't have any form, like there is nothing like for login, nothing for like registration, nothing for search, or nothing for or like send feedback. Okay, because we didn't mention form here. Okay, so so now we'll discuss like what form tag will, what problem that form tag will solve. Okay, so basically form tag allow user to communicate with the website. So how we can mention form? We can mention form tag like form and this one. So when we are mentioning this form tag, okay, so basically we are letting the website or the HTML tag know that browser no tag. Yeah, now we'll be passing few information or input from the user to the browser or the server side. Okay, uh, in real life example, okay, think like a you have a paper of application form, like school admission or bank new account creation. Okay, so in the what is there in the school form? There in the school form there must be a name, age, class. Okay, and then you fill all the information and you submit it to the school authority. So now in the same HTML, in the form, under the form, there should be a name, uh, age, class, and the submit button. What submit button will do? Submit button will pass all the user input to the website. If you fill in the like if you didn't fill the form and if you click on the submit, uh, the form will pass a blank data to the uh, server through the website. Okay, similarly HTML form like let user, so same the form HTML user like let user enter data on the web page. Okay, so if I go for the real life like example, imagine you visiting a hospital. Okay, uh, the receptionist, what first you will go to the receptionist reception, and the receptionist gives you a form. So in that form, you there are lots of fields are there like name, age, gender, problem, what is your phone number. You fill it. The hospital has now your all the information because you have whatever the form the receptionist provide you. You have already filled that form and you have submitted the form to the receptionist. HTML form actually works exactly the same way. Okay, your browser gives you a digital form, you fill it, and the website received your information. Okay, so every day you are using you are using form. Like if you have nowadays every day has a Gmail account. So when you are logging using the Gmail account, so there is a there is a option to put your email ID. Then when you click on that button, next button, then one option will come to to in like input your password, to enter your password. Okay, so both that form is both that input is basically a form. Okay, so even the Google search is a form. So you already have a search like if I open a Chrome browser, so this one is also a form. Like we can if you click on the Zomato. Okay, so this one is also a form. Even the Facebook sign up. So if you go to the face if you go to the facebook.com, and if you click in and hit enter, now when you click on the create new account, okay, so you are getting this input box and birthday, gender, mobile number or email address. So basically this is a form. So you are filling up the form, and when you click on the submit, then only whatever the information you have provided to the website, so that information, that what website will do, so website will take the information and it will send it to the server. Okay, so now this is how the um, form is working. So now there must be a question, like I have mentioned a form tag, and under the form tag I have few inputs like name, age, phone number, or gender or something, etc, etc, and then we have a submit form. So how it is working? Okay, suppose we have an input type text. Okay, uh, before this one, um I will tell you few of the like input type. Like input type, there are lots of input types. Type is there. So there are like input type text. Okay, input type email, input type password. Okay, so I will tell you. I will discuss it about how about later. Now, okay, so input type text, and we have input type text, and input type text. Okay, and now we have a button and submit. So once we can I run this one? Yeah, run without debugging. So if I run this one, I'll use Chrome for that. Remind me later. Okay, better to directly open it to the Chrome. Why? What happened to the Chrome? Slash. Okay. So now we need to open this. Okay. And we need to go to the desktop, because we have created this one, and we are right click and open with Google Chrome. Okay, cancel. So if we click on the Chrome, see, we have the input box and we have a submit button. Okay, so if we are typing something, suppose I'm typing code path, and if I submit this one, now it is not showing here, or it is not passing the data from the website, because form also need two parameter. One is get, and not a parameter, actually form support two method. One is get method and one is like post method. I'll tell you later. Before that, um, let me tell you one thing, like form can collect almost any type of user input. It can be name, email, password, phone number, date of birth, address, gender, uh, hobbies, file upload. If you want to upload some attachment, okay, either it can be doc, any type of, or it can be PDF, or it can be an MP3 file, or it can be MP4 file, it can be an image. It should be a rating, like when you are after purchasing any product, you there is the option like rate this product, so rating option is also available. Okay, feedback, search keyword, even the payment details. Okay, so now I have also mentioned like what is the basic structure of the form. So the form tag open, then we have few input type text. Okay, input type text. I will tell you the other attributes later. And we have a button submit. Then we have a form tag. Remember, every time if you are opening any tag, you should close the tag. Otherwise, it will be a mess. Okay, suppose you have opened the form tag and you forget to close the form tag. So that time that form it will not work properly. Okay, so here form it creates a form container. Okay, input, what input do? Input will do like let the user enter data. Okay, and button, what button will do is it will submit the form. Okay, so that is the form. So in the real example, if I now come to the real example. So now we have a form, we have an input type text. Now we'll put in uh, here we can put a name. Okay, now we have an email, input type email, and now we have a password. Now input type password, and we have a button. So now how it will look like? So if we go to the browser and oh, it is like a very okay. So side by side, I'll show you. I'll put it here, and I'll put this one as a left. So now if under that, if I put a beer tag, beer tag is basically a break. So for beer tag or for this, we don't have to um, uh, close the tag one, close the tag. And there also beer, okay. And there also I'll put a BR. Now let's see how it will look like. Yeah, if I put a one beer again, sorry. So there will be a white space between name, email, and password. Let's see how it is working. See, we have a white space between name, email, and password. Okay, this so how this is how we can create a form. So now how the form is working again. So you are opening an website. Users see this form, okay, and user enter data like stack code path is sorry okay, stack code path stack code dot path at the rate gmail.com and password 1234567 8. So now you can see here the password is asterisk. Okay, so this one is for not only hidden, this one is for security purpose. Okay, so when you mention input type password, so that time when you input like this, when you input anything, it will show like dot 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 or not a dot 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 dot. If you maximize it, you will get uh, either it is like dot 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 or it will be like star. Okay, so now when we click on the submit after inputting all the after filling all the information, when you click on the submit, the browser will send the data and the server will receive the data. Then whatever the data you have passed, whatever the data is there, first server it will process it, then um, it will do his work. Either it will log in or it will get the data from database, and it response send back to the user. Okay, this is how the form is working. So now, in a simple word, HTML form exists only to collect the information from the user. Without form, website can only display content, okay, and not accept any input. Form are used uh, for login, registration, search, feedback, booking, shopping, comments, and many more things. A form act as a bridge between user and server, allowing data to be submitted for processing. Okay, in a simple word, a website become interactive only when it can and receive information from user. So if there are lots of website is there, like informative website is there, there is nothing like a form, nothing like a login, nothing to do with the registration, nothing to do with the contact us. So that is the different thing. But when you are mentioning form, using that form, you are letting know the website that user will uh, or like user will give some input information, and what you have to do, you have to send it to the server. Okay, so that is the um, main purpose of the form. Now come to method. So form, so now the form, we have the form and we have the submit button. So once you click on the submit button, what it will do, what it is doing, like it is nothing with this, nothing to do with this, like nothing is working. So once you click on the submit, see, it is refreshing the page. So what it will do, for sending the data to the server, there are two methods working. One method is get method and one method is post method. So what is get method and what is post method, and when we supposed to use get method and when we supposed to use post method, that I will let you know. So um, in the form method where it is mentioned get, okay, so basically it is asking for information, it is asking for information, and when it is mentioned post, so it is sending information to the server. So get method is only used for asking information and post method is only used for sending the information. Why do you need get and post method? So suppose we already have a form, okay, when you click on the submit, the browser must send the data, but in that case the browser is refreshing because the form is not, the method is not mentioned here. It is a get method or post method. I'm not sure it that get method and post method it will work here or not. Let's try once. So if I mention method like a post, and if we refresh this one, if we send is stack code path. I'm mentioning email address like stackcode.path@gmail.com and password 12345678. When you click on the submit, see it is not working because it is I am working this in local. So let's do one thing. I have created a local server like XAMPP. Let me move that folder to the XAMPP file. So what is XAMPP? Now what is XAMPP? XAMPP is a local server where we can create a project. So now I'll let this one know. Like manager works. Let me open a XAMPP. Uh, application. Okay, so you have a XAMPP one. It is opening. The XAMPP is actually used to create a local server. Local server means where we can create a project and we can send the data. Yeah, we can do exactly like a real for development. You can remember like XAMPP is using for local development server. Why it is taking time? Why it is taking time? Yeah, it is taking lots of time. Aha. Okay, so let me show you here only. So suppose we have a website like xyz.com. We are accessing this website and we have this form. Okay, so submit the form. So this one is s at the rate of gmail.com and 11111. So when you click on the submit, what the get method will do, it will looks like xyz dot com slash question like name is equal to s and email is equal to s at the rate of gmail.com and password is equal to whatever the password I have 111111. So when we click on the gate, okay, when you click on the gate, this method will look like this. Okay, and when we click on the post method, so when you click on the post method, how it will look like. So if you click on the post method, so we have that. Sorry, we have xyz.com question, not a question, because for post method, what we are doing, we are telling the website to send the information to the server. So it will send the information. Okay, now we have opened it. So it's sending the information. Uh, using the either using the same page, or you can mention like a action. So I'll tell you the action. I'll tell you action. Okay. Now, if you go to the get method, so if I click, okay, so let's let's go to the Google Chrome, google.com, and I will tell you the basic things. Like if I search for HTML form, so if I hit enter, so here you can see like HTML form. Why it is showing? Because it is using the get method. Why it is get method? Because I want Google form to get the information about HTML form. Okay, so this is how the get method is working. Okay, so um yeah, this is how the get method is working. So there is few advantages and disadvantages of the get method. Like what are all the advantages? So first advantage is it is simple and fast. Then um the second advantage is you can easily bookmark the URL. So bookmark the URL means if I have the get, I already have the URL using the get method, and if I can easily bookmark it like this. Okay, and the third is URL can be shared. So if I am searching for something and I want to know that information to be shared to the other, so what I will do, I will just copy the URL and I can send it to the URL using any chat application. Okay, so it is useful for search and filter. The get method is basically useful for search and filter. So now come to the disadvantages of get method. So the disadvantages of get method is it is easily visible in the URL. Okay, so if we want to share a password, it is not suitable for password or sensitive information. So we can't, when we are submitting a sensitive information, and that time we can't use get method. Okay, so and the third one is there are some limited amount of data it can be sent to using the get method, because the browser and the server limit vary. So like we there are limited of information, either it is a 1 MB or 2 MB or 3 MB. Like this we can send limited of information, we can send using the get method. Now come to the post method. So when we used post method, so post method is used when you want to send data to the server. It is open to create it or update something. Yeah, create or update something. And for get method, for edit any information, we can use get method. For creating and updating an information, we can use post method. Okay, so in the real life application, yeah, okay, think like a bank, application. So you go to the sorry, you go to the bank, and you have an application in your hand. You don't have to, in that application you don't have to write your password or personal details on the billboard, um, because um, you handed them privately to the bank. Post work in the similar way. They send the data in the request body, not into the URL. What is the request body then? As I have already told you. So if I inspect this one, okay. So if I go to the network, once we are using post method, all the information will be stored into here. So if I request one search query, so request body means here is the response header preview. There will be a request one. Okay, when you are passing it to the source, sorry, post. So in the request body, we will be passing. Even in the header also, see in the request URL here it is showing the get method. So when it is a post method, then in the request body it will pass. Okay, so now the same. Now we have the gate. We had the previously we had the gate method. Now I today now it is for the post method. So the same post method, how it is working. So post method is basically, as I told you, like if you have filling out a bank application, so you don't have to write that password or personal details on the billboard. You hand them privately to the bank. Okay. So what will be the URL then? So suppose you have a sorry, facebook.com. Okay. So if you go to the facebook.com, when you're filling the information like is at the rate of gmail.com or 23456. So if you click on the login, what what the post method will do, it whatever the data you have, whatever the data user input data, it will be passed to the request body, and it will not be visible to the URL. Okay, so the URL will remains him, and whatever the data you are passing, so um, it will function in like a in backend. Okay, so now there are also few advantages and disadvantages of post method. So what is the advantages of post method? So the main advantages of post method is data is not display in the URL. Here it can send a large amount of data like 1 GB, 2 GB data we can send. Okay, suitable for forms for sensitive or complex data. Okay, and support file upload also. Okay, so file upload means suppose you have a form, suppose you have a form with name, email, phone number, and file upload option, your resume upload. So in that upload also we can use a post method, and it can support file upload also with the appropriate ENC type. ENC type means encryption type. So either it can be image encryption, or it can be like PDF encryption, the file encryption, etc., etc. And what is the disadvantages of form? It cannot bookmark. Okay, and with the submitted data, because when you submit this, when you click on this one, you can't bookmark this, because if you bookmark this again, that like if you bookmark this URL and yesterday and tomorrow you came and click on the bookmark, it will not store the information. Again, it will show like the blank input. Then you can again need to fill up the form, and again you need to click on the login. Okay, the second disadvantage is submit data is not visible in the URL. It is actually not a disadvantage. It is a like advantages. Okay, and third disadvantages is resubmitting a post request can repeat action like placing an order. So if you are placing an order, if you click on the place order multiple time, so the form will not work properly. Okay, so there are few example I'm giving you for the gate method and post method. So gate method is basically, as I already shown you, like in the Google search, it is it is using gate method to retrieve the search result. If you are you are in the like e-commerce website like Amazon, Flipkart, or Misho, or something like that. Okay, if you are in the e-commerce website, so at that time you are searching for a product, that time it is showing, it is using a get method. If you are searching for any weather, like forecast, like what will be the today's forecast, what will be the tomorrow's forecast, at that time the form is used for the get is used in the form, uh, and uh, and for the post, like login, registration, contact us form, online payment, file upload, that time we can use post method. Okay, so this is the difference between post and get method. So better reminder in a simple way. Um, Simpler if you are requesting some information, that time you can use get method, and if you are sending information, that time you can use post. Post means you are sending, get and requesting means you have to use a get method. Okay, so now let's come few of the attributes, like input. This one is the attribute, the input type. Text is an attribute, email is an attribute, password is an attribute. There are lots of attributes is there, like as I have already told you, like text, email, password. Okay, and we have a number attributes, we have a telephone attributes, like that attributes it mentioned, like input type. Mm, we have like attributes attributes we can mean, like we can have a text. Okay, and two, we can have uh, like we can attributes like text, and we can have a password. We can attributes have email, then number, then we have a till. Is basically to input the telephone number. Okay, then we have a URL, then you have a search attribute, then you have a date, time. There are lots of attributes is there. Okay, so now what all these attributes are for? So basically, um, when we are using these attributes, and what the attribute is for. So first come with the text. Text input is only allow user to enter a single line of information. Like in the text, when you want to write your name, or you want to write your first name, last name, that time we can use a text attribute. Okay, so now we have a password attribute. Password attribute, like it is used to enter password, as we have already know. We have already zoning in there. So password, when it comes to the password, in so that time we can use a password. This one. And now what is this? This is the email. So now it's come to the email. So what is email? Email is for to input like email information. Now there is a number. Number is basically you can allow the numeric input, like your phone number, like your age. Okay, and what now comes to the till it accept actually telephone number. Okay, so suppose your telephone 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. So that time, if you are like requesting information about mm, telephone number, so that time you can use till type input type till in the form. Now the URL is basically you accept the website address. So suppose you are you are filling a job application, you are uploading a resume and you have already have some LinkedIn information, LinkedIn URL. So in that URL, so that when you are requesting for URL, that time you can use input type URL. And search is for search mm, it is basically a text box, which is intent for search queries. So if you want to search any product, or search any image, or search anything like blog, so that time we can use input type search. There are lots of um, uh, attributes are there. When you will be working in the large project, or you will be practicing the same thing, so that time you will get to know each and every about each and every like attribute. So date and time, date is for like the birth date, or schedule any, or there is a form where you can schedule doctor appointment or any salon appointment. So that time you can date, you can select input type date, you can mention input type date, and you can mention input type time. Okay, there are lots of like attributes are there. Even there are also button also there, like radio type button. Okay, like checkbox, sorry, checkbox type radio. So it will be like uh, you can see while filling the form, like male, female, or others. That time you can select with one radio button. Either you can check radio button, or you can use input type radio, or you can use input type checkbox. Hmm. So this is the HTML attributes. So this is all, and you can also like search for HTML attribute in Google. So there will be lot of attributes you can see, and you can like read it about how it is working and when it is used, and like how it will be used. So when we are working on the form, so there are few things you have to know, you need to know, like there is also one thing like validation. So what is validation, and how many types of validation are there? Basically there are two types of validation. One is server validation and server side validation, and one is client side validation or browser validation. Browser validation is also known as a client validation, and there are one more validation is there, like server validation. And then why we want validation? Okay, so suppose we have a form, name, email, and password. So okay, so I have already name I mentioned is, and for email I have mentioned is at the rate of gmail.com. But in email, if someone type is only, and he put a password on 1 1 2 3 4 5, and he submit the form, so is that form is accept means valid one? Like I am sending information about, like my email ID should be at the rate gmail.com, or at the rate yahoo.com, or at the rate xyz.com, like this. But in this mm, in this scenario, I am just sending a uh, is one word, and without any email domain. So it is not a valid data. Okay, so it in that time, uh, the website it will not accept. Okay, so for checking that one, like if you are sending the proper information to the website or not, to check it, we need this validation. So what validation we need? So if we are importing something in the browser, so in that at that time we need a browser validation, or this is a client side validation. Okay, so now there are a lot validation, client validation, and one more thing, there is a server side validation. So I don't have any client side validation, and I am sending this information to the server, like with the email is. Okay, so in the server side validation also, the server, it will not accept, because whatever the information I am providing, that is not a valid information. So at that time, what we have to do is, there are also few attributes to validate that data, which is one more thing. One is, which is required. Okay, so let me show you few of the validation. So suppose I am going to remove this one. Only I have email. Oh, sorry, I need to remove this one, otherwise cancel. And this one, I only have the email and password. So now we have the input type email. Okay, so if I submit this one, so at that time, if I require, if I put required means you can't proceed, you can't click on the submit button without filling this information, email ID. Because once we have a required one, you need that email ID to be filled, then only you can you can click submit button. Okay, and there is a type mail. So email means, if you have an email, and if then you are inputting like is, so at that time what it will do, it will throw a error, like it will throw error like, please include an at the rate, because at the rate, because using the at the rate, we are mentioning for email symbol to the email field to indicate that the email address is here. Okay, so this type of error we can see. Also, for there are few example, for number, there is a minimum and maximum. So if we put minimum 18 and maximum as 60, and user is filling the number with 10, that time it will show error. It will show error like value must be greater than or equal to 18. Okay, this is how the validation will work. So there are few validation attributes are there. So first, I have already show you like required. Okay, so what purpose? The purpose is the purpose of the required is field cannot be empty. Minimum length, minimum number of character. Maximum length, the purpose is maximum number of character. Mean is equal to maximum numeric value. Minimum numeric value, and max is equal to maximum numeric value. Pattern, match a specific format using regular expression. What is regular expression? I will let you know. I will let you know. And input type email. When you are mentioning type email, so it validate email format. When your type is equal to URL, it validate the URL format. So now what is the advantages and disadvantages? So each and everything has an advantage and disadvantage. So what is the advantages of this? It is an instant feedback. It gives an instant feedback. So and the second is better user experience. Third is reduces unnecessary request to the user. Fourth is easy to implement to the HTML. Like once if it is a required, if a field is required, then you just put a required attribute. If it is if the number varies and between minimum number is 18 and maximum is 26, then you just put attribute minimum and maximum. And what is the disadvantages? Browser validation cannot be trusted. Why browser validation cannot be trusted? Because if someone is inspect element the form, and if someone is editing the HT element, so we already have a element, we already have a form showing here, and someone is into the form, and if someone is okay, so if I form and why this, okay, so if someone is removing, like getting this one and removing this required one, so that required, it will not, the form, now the form is not required email ID. Okay, so that's why it is cannot be trusted, and they can easily make it blank and submit the form. So that's why it is not validate. Okay, so now come to the server side validation. So what is server side validation? So server side validation happens after the form reaches to the server. The server check what the server will do. The server will check the submitted data before processing and storing it. Suppose user submit here like S and here 1 2 3 4 5, and user submit and user click on the submit. So first it will check for the email. Okay, so the email, so in the server it is showing the email should be in a proper format. So in the server, see, you can see like please include an @ in the email address. S is missing an @. So if I put a S @ of gmail.com, how it will not show any error. Okay, so this is the server side validation. So now we have a S @ of gmail.com and password is 12345. Now I am submitting this information to the server. So what server side validation will do? First, it will check the email address is registered or not. Okay, then it will check the password is strong or not. Okay, then if if it is not, if the email address is not there, then only it will process. If the email address is there, okay, then sorry, if the it is a login form, so if the email address is there, then only it will process. If the email address is not there, then it will show the email address is not registered with us. Okay, so now this is how the server side works. So now how it is? So first it will, once you submit the form, it will go in the browser. We are submitting the form. Okay, in the browser, first we need to go to the browser, then we need to, then user fill form. Okay, then browser validate, then browser validate it. Okay, then user submitting the form up, sorry, submitting the form. After submitting the form, it will go to the server. Okay, then what server will do? Server will uh, validate the form is the whatever the data you are passing, that is a valid or not, or that data is in the server or not. Then it will check for the data, sorry, database, like it will check in the database like whatever the input you have provided, user provided, so that data is matching with the database data or not. If it is, if the data is matching, then it will come to the it will log in. If it is not matching, then it will throw an error like that email ID is not registered with us. Okay, now come to the let's go for an like real life example for server validation and client validation. So suppose imagine for a yeah, Imagine for a airport security. Okay, so this in the for if I example got an example, if I give an example for browser validation. So the security guard at the first when we enter in the airport, one security guard at the entrance quickly check whether you have a ticket or not. If you don't have the ticket, then you are stopped immediately. Okay, so this is for the browser validation. And for the server validation is if you have if you get the pass get past the entrance, then the airline verifies that your identity, your password, or your boarding pass, or your visa, or your booking. Okay, then only you are allowed to board. Sorry, board. So both checks are necessary. Okay, so that is the real life example of server validation and like browser validation or client side validation. Okay, so this is for the validation. And if you are developing any website, or if you are working on a project, like long lengthy project or a large project, so in both the for in the submitting the form, if you are working on a form, I will suggest to use server validation and browser or client side validation. Both you need to use, because if you use both of the validation, then the form will be in a strong security matter. Like first, when you are submitting a form, first it will check for the valid data the user is. So I will suggest when you will be working on any like large projects, I will be suggest to use both the validation, browser side validation and server side validation. So browser side validation will help user correct mistakes immediately, and server side validation will ensure the data is trustworthy before it's processed or stored. Using only browser side validation is like insecure. So using only server side works, but user get slower feedback and a uh, poorer experience. So actually modern web application use both. So in a simple rule, just remember one thing: browser side validation improves the user experience, and server side validation protect the application. So if you want even shorter to remember what browser validation and like server validation will do. So browser side validation is equal to convenience, and server side validation is equal to security. Now, if you are building a form with this principle in mind, you will be following the same approach used a professional like a professional web application also. Okay, so that's it from today. Now I will give you an assignment. Create a form and with name, email. Okay, so create a form. Okay, so it will be like name, email, age, uh, date of birth, okay, date of birth, and appoint app appointment appointment date, appointment time, sorry, appointment time, and like prescription, and submit button is must. So I'll give you a reference, like name should be in text. Okay, email should be in email, age should be like in number. Okay, one more thing. Phone. How can I forward the phone number? Age should be in number. Phone number is you have to use till. Date of birth, and for appointment you have to use date type in input type date, and for appointment you have to, for time you have to set input type time. For prescription you have to choose input type uh, upload. Okay, and for submit we already have a button. So now create a form and submit it, and show me the data, and check the data what it is showing. Either it is a get method or it is a post method. Better to use get and post both, and also use proper validation for all the input. Okay, this is your task. So that's it from today for HTML form. Next, uh, next we'll see for few of the like CSS, or how we have already have the form and we already have the data in the HTML data. So next we'll see how to like modify, no, not a modify, how to modify, yeah, modify form and all the data in a proper, using a color or using a box with that. Okay, so next, in the next video we'll start with the CSS.